Let me start by explaining where this all started. How many people here have taken Charlie's soul travel class? And most of you were in the room when this story started. In Charlie's soul travel class, we were going to another planet. And I sat there as Charlie helped us relax. And then he set us off on our path to this planet. And I was laying there, this isn't working. And then all of a sudden, I was there. I was in a pet adoption agency. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I have a feral cat colony. At that time, I had 3 dogs. I only have 2 now. Why a pet adoption agency? The last thing I need is another pet, especially in this other planet. And then a butterfly floated by and said, "Come meet your new friend." And then there it was. Okay, you gotta picture this now. He's like the cross between a Lhasa Apso and a penguin. And he has this crazy kooky feathers that are green and sparkly, eyes that will just pierce you with their greenness. And he waddled, "Robbie!" And then he said, "My name is Sparkle Feathers. I'm here to tell you about a new mission that we're going to go on together. Children all over the world need more confidence. You need to tell them that it's what's inside that counts and not what they look like." And then Charlie woke us up. When I told this story after the meditation, everyone laughed, kind of just like you did, because nobody has ever heard or seen anything like that. And then after the soul travel class, through subsequent meditations, a book was downloaded. And now, I am going to get into character because Princess Francie wants to talk to you. After the soul travel class, I connected with my inner child. And my first time here, we did an inner child meditation. Who was here for that inner child meditation? Connecting with my inner child brought me to a whole new level. Hi, I'm Princess Francie, and this book is about me. When I was feeling sad and lonely one day because I had this scar on my mouth and I was afraid to go to school, a butterfly floated by and said, "Follow me. I'm going to introduce you to a new friend who will help you." Well, I didn't want to do that. I wasn't feeling like going into some magic land. I wanted to feel all my pain and my misery. But this butterfly was insistent in it. And she said, "Go under that magic table." So I crawled under that magic table. And I came out from the other end. And I had a tail. And it was a beautiful land. It was beautiful colors and sparkling, and everything was so magical. And then I met my friend, Sparkle Feathers. Sparkle Feathers was so big and cuddly, I just had to run up and give him a big hug. And Sparkle Feathers told me that he was going to help me understand that it's what's inside of me that counts and not what I look like. I realized at this point that this was a camp. There were other kids there, and we were all going to help each other. We all laid down in our little meditation circle, and Sparkle Feathers helped us relax. And then Sparkle Feathers led us on a journey. He took us through this magic hall of mirrors. And in this hall, I saw myself falling off a horse, which is how I got this scar in the first place. And then over there, I saw myself sitting on a tack in the 3rd grade, and all the kids were laughing at me. And then over there's my messy bedroom that my mom always bugged me to clean up. And then I saw this beautiful, purple, sparkling, shining door. And Sparkle Feathers told me to go through it. Does anyone want to guess what was on the other side of this door? It was my messy bedroom! I guess Sparkle Feathers wanted me to clean my bedroom too. And Sparkle Feathers explained to me why. All that crumbled up paper over there, and the books scattered, and the cobwebs and the dust. That's all what was in my brain. That was all the bad thoughts. That was all the stuff that was keeping me from being happy. And Sparkle Feather sent in the magic forest creatures to help me. The parade of squirrels, they were dusting everything with their tails. And then there was Lily the lemur with the magic vacuum. This vacuum was all lit up and shiny, and it vacuumed up everything that the squirrels dusted onto the floor. We cleaned up the paper and put all the books away until my room was all neat and clean. And then Sparkle Feathers told me to have a seat, and the book I needed to read from would come to me, and it did. Because when my room is clean, when my magic library is clean, what I need to know will come to me when I need to know it. And then the meditation was over, and Sparkle Feathers told me to wake up. That is what Sparkle Feathers and Princess Francie, the Magic Library, is all about. We're going to teach kids how to meditate. We are going to teach kids that it's what's on the inside that counts, not what they look like on the outside. And in each subsequent book, just the first in a series, in each book, we are going to help a child through some traumatic childhood experience. In the next book, that is already in writing, Princess Francie and Sparkle Feathers help a child with crippling shyness. We're playing with a magic turtle who learns how to come out of his shell, and maybe, I don't know, a mermaid. We're still working on the details, and when I'm done talking, maybe you could help me brainstorm a little bit. But now I want to tell you about the special program I have. Princess Francie and Sparkle Feathers are breaking out into the world to teach kids to have more confidence. And it's a 3-pronged approach. Number 1 is the books. The second prong of this approach to children's confidence is the Confidence Club for Kids. This is a container in my website where kids could go and get uplifting messages, guided meditations, and science videos. Now you might be thinking, and I've been asked this question, what does science have to do with confidence? Well, I will tell you, because I have a degree in electronics, and learning science taught me that Science experiments in school taught me how to set up an experiment. It taught me how to explain my results. And it gave me the feeling of power that I can control or at least understand the natural world around me. And that, my friends, will help children learn about the world around them, learn about nature. There are 20 videos about science, and I will be doing experiments that the kids can join in on, and there'll be an interactive element where the kids could send pictures of their experiments or videos and be featured as one of the rising stars of the Confidence Club. There's videos about the moon cycles, the water cycles, there's fire safety, and so many more. The way I got started in all of this, Princess Francie had a scar on her face, and while I was writing this book, I was bit by a dog, and that's where the scar came from. My spirit guide was with me while the doctor was sewing me up, and my spirit guide said, children need to know that it's okay. Well, I was fat as a kid. I told you about the 3rd grade when I sat on a tack. The reason why that was so traumatic, I didn't even feel it. And all the kids laughed. Aha, she's so fat she can't even feel the tack. And even growing up, I still remembered my aunt saying, "You'd be such a pretty girl if you just lost some weight." Those words stuck with me my whole life. When you speak to kids, remember, they remember it for 50, 60, 70 years. And we're going to see a video about that later. My whole life, I thought if I could just lose 20 pounds, I'd be happy. I was on Weight Watchers as an 8-year-old. I lose 20 pounds and then I gain 30. I lose 20 pounds and then I gain 40. Until I was 230 pounds after coming home from Iraq. It came time for my retirement, and I was so miserable. I was so angry. It was the whole world's fault that nothing went right for me. And I knew that if I just lost 20 pounds, everything would be better. Well, guess what? I lost 100 pounds and I still sucked. Because I didn't change what was up here. So another element of the Confidence Club for Kids is going to be healthy eating. I have recipes uploaded of healthy recipes, and the kids will not only get to look at the recipes and hopefully cook the recipes with their parents, but then they can share the recipes with their friends and family, make videos of it, wearing these cool Confidence Club for Kids aprons so they could feel like a part of the community. Now there's more. There's more to the Confidence Club for Kids. I learned that people think I have a grandmotherly vibe. Well, I don't have kids, so that really struck me as odd. But my friend said, my daughter won't listen to me, but she'll listen to you. Why don't you add some kind of an online event where the kids could come together in a community and learn from each other and from you? So now we will be having children's networking events. The first one is November 17th. I'm inviting the kids into my Zoom room, and we are going to start by watching a video. Now this video is kind of special to me because when I was in the 4th grade, not only was I the fat kid, not only did I have buck teeth, but now I'm 4 eyes. The first day I had my new glasses, I wore them in school, and it was great because I could see everything. I'm not going to fail school anymore because I could see, but I didn't like being different, so I took them off and I put them on the bus seat. Guess what happened to my brand new glasses my parents just paid for? They were lost. And every time I tell this story, there's at least one person in the audience that says, I lost my glasses or my kid lost their glasses, because they didn't think glasses were cool. So, Princess Francie made this video. Did I just?
Hit spacebar.
Spacebar. Hello, Princess Francie here. I have been wearing glasses since the 4th grade, and it's really cool because I can see out of them. I can't see without them. I can see you now. And not only that, shopping for glasses is fun because there's so many cool styles and you could look any way you want. I'm at my friend's store, Into the Looking Glasses. It's time to shop. End of the eyeball lady's going to measure my eyes now.
Put these on. And how does that feel? Is that comfortable?
That's comfortable.
Does that feel like it's gonna sit where you would normally wear them?
Yes.
Okay. All I need to do is look right at my nose. I'm gonna make a little dot in front of your eye.
That was easy and it didn't hurt a bit. What do you think? Why don't you send Princess Francie a picture of you in your glasses and we'll show them off to everyone.
That was cute.
In our first networking meeting,
It's great.
yeah, could you pull up the next one,
I'll
please?
pull up the next one.
Okay, it's episode 1. In our networking meeting, we are going to watch that video, and then the kids and I are just going to have a conversation about being busy.
I just
Not yet.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be playing
Yeah,
yet.
coming up soon.
Okay. Yeah, we got Joanne.
And in future networking with the kids, I'm going to find other topics, maybe healthy recipes, maybe a science experiment, and we're going to talk about whatever the topic is and let the kids decide what they want to talk about and have them have a sense of community. My friends' kids in Denver are going to join. I have people in California possibly. And the beauty of that is kids right here in Duval and Clay County can find out that kids everywhere feel the same way and are going through the same stuff. And that'll make them feel more comfortable in what they are going through. If I had one other kid who was short, fat, buck-toothed, and 4 eyes, I wouldn't have felt so alone. So let's bring these kids together so they could find out that they're all really the same when you think about it. It's what's different about us that makes it beautiful. So I just told you about the first prong, the books, and the second prong, the Confidence Club for Kids, which is a monthly membership. So every month there'll be new content and new fun activities for the kids. Now the third. Remember I told you, words hurt. Words stick with us. And the parents are with the kids all the time. The parents are the ones saying most of these words. Or in my case, my aunts. Or in other people's cases, it's the kids at school. Well, my case too. The kids at school. What about TV? The girls think they have to look like a Kardashian. And the boys think they have to be the greatest quarterback. And all of this social media is really destroying our kids' confidence because they don't understand that these photos are touched up, that only 1% of athletes will ever make it close to the big time. But how are we talking to the kids? Why are they not understanding these things? And it all starts with the parents. And now I want you to know, all you parents out there, I'm not bashing parents. I'm not saying it was my parents' fault, because they were just doing the best they could based on the programming they had when they were growing up. And my grandparents, it wasn't their fault. They were just doing the best they could with the programming they had. And in my family, that was from Russia, pre-revolution, where they had to flee because they were Jewish. So they brought all of those limiting beliefs with them and passed them down to my parents. And today it's still happening. Parents have these limiting beliefs that they got through their generations of life and living, and their parents' generations of life and living, and now they're passing them down to kids today. I'm here to tell you we can break the cycle. And it all starts with how we talk to our children. On my YouTube channel, I have a podcast. The first 3 episodes are up. 2 more are getting edited to go up. And I am collecting tips for parents. So now I want to show you episode 1 with Joanne.
I made a mistake. Let me
Oh,
fix it real quick.
okay.
I need to close the previous video. All right. I'll play it. I need to unmute it. All right.
Thoughts of being
Thank you.
ugly, those thoughts of being not worthy are only thoughts, and you can change those thoughts.
As I started changing myself, as I started fixing what was broken inside of me, I realized that the majority of it came from society's programming. And you might think that I'm saying my parents did something wrong, and I'm not. They did the best they could with the knowledge they had, based on their societal programming. It's time to break the cycle. Parents, welcome to Parents Talk. We just want you to know you need to be careful what you say to your children. My friend Joanne Dufton is going to tell you a little story to demonstrate this point. Joanne, can you tell us how your mother made you feel when you were growing up, please?
I was about 11 and we went to visit my grandmother. And a prior babysitter was walking down the street. And she was about 17. My mother took one look at her and this face Look at her skin. That's disgusting. Look at those whiteheads. That's awful. 2 years later, when I looked in the mirror and saw my own pimples, I didn't want to ever have that expression from my mother. And so I got in the mirror and I poked and I poked. Unfortunately, it didn't work. I went into the room where my mother was sitting and she gave me that same look. That look followed me for years. I remember 2 or 3 years later, a young boy came up to me and said, "You're pretty." And I remember thinking, are you blind? If my own mother thinks I'm disgusting, how can I possibly believe that anyone else would think that I was attractive?
Wow, what a story.
What a story. I had a problem with that until I was 60.
60, really?
60. After my husband died, I picked up a book by Alex Lloyd called The Healing Code. And one of the chapters talked about phrases that you would say to yourself. And I remember when I said to myself, as my heart heals, I am learning to believe that I am worthy, that I have value, and that I can love myself for who I am. That, saying that to myself spoke to my whole body, spoke to my soul, spoke to my spirit. As a parent, I don't want you to go through 60 years of feeling that way. And I know you don't want your children to go through any time feeling that way. So let them know that those thoughts of being less than, those thoughts of being ugly, those thoughts of being not worthy are only thoughts, and you can change those thoughts. Pick up this book. I like the way he describes it. He has you directing energy to various parts of your face as you say those sentences. He initially says only do it 5 minutes 3 times a day. Well, my husband had just died. What did I have to do except that? And it felt so good that I kept doing it. I remember 2 or 3 nights in a row, I'd be saying it maybe for an hour at a time as I directed energy towards these various areas. I had debilitating shyness. I always wanted to hide in a corner. Maybe I could be invisible. Now I'm a public speaker.
And a good one, too. Wasn't that a great
Yes.
story?
Yeah.
Now, parents, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could grow strong, confident children today rather than fix broken adults later? The Confidence Club for Kids will give your kids tools and resources to grow up strong and confident today. Bye. Okay, thank you. That's episode 1. In episode 2, I found a lady who was very controlling. And with her older child, she always tried to control them. Oh my God, you got a B. Why wasn't it an A? And then you need to go to this school because it's gonna, I don't care what you want to do, you need to go to this school. And then she went through her whole healing process and realized that she was using the programming she got from her parents, because her parents did the same thing to her. And with her younger child, she is being more accepting of what her child wants. So episode 2 is about cutting the cords of control. Episode 3, I found an art therapist, and we talk about self-reflection through art. Episode 4 and 5 are coming. One of them will be with a registered nurse talking about healthy eating. And then in one, my friends wrote a book called The Power of Encouragement. And we just talk about how we can encourage children. So be thinking, because I want to know who, I already have another episode coming.
Oh, the power of grace.
Yes, yes, another episode coming. I just met her today and we will be talking. So let me know if you know anybody who would make a great episode for Parents Talk, so we could start feeding these parents information that will help them raise strong and confident kids, and possibly even start their own healing journeys if they haven't started yet. Because in the meditation, when I was told to do this, I was told that get the kids first and the parents will follow. So that's why I took this three-prong approach. The books, the parents and the kids could read together, because if the parents aren't already meditating and they teach their kids with the book, then maybe they'll start meditating too. Confidence Club for Kids. I'm hoping the parents enjoy the content with their children, and maybe some of it will rub off on them. And then of course, Parents Talk, where they could come into a community of other parents and join the conversation on how we can bring this mission about, because this is a mission and I can't do it alone. That's why I'm going around talking to people, trying to get people to jump on board this bus with me so we could change the world. So does anybody have a question or a story they'd like to tell, or a tip or trick to teach a parent?
I was struck by your comments about the eyeglasses. About 6 months ago, my granddaughter realized she needed to wear eyeglasses. Well, she didn't seem very concerned about them. I pick her up from school once a week. About 3 weeks ago, she got in my car and she looked down and she says, "Oh, there are my eyeglasses." She never even dared to tell her mother that she had lost them.
If she came to the network meeting, she would have realized the glasses are cool and they would have been on her face. Yes, ma'am.
I have one. When parents fight, how that affects the children, how much trauma or, anxiety or PTSD it can create when they get older.
That would be a good episode for Parents Talk. Has anyone had a positive experience where maybe a parent's fighting turned into a positive situation? Because I don't want to, in Parents Talk, I don't want to keep pushing at the negatives. When I was in the military, my chief always said, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution. If there's something going on, come to me and tell me how you're going to fix it. And that's what I want Parents Talk to be. I want it to be positive and I want it to be uplifting. So if you know a therapist or maybe somebody who has experienced it and come out on the other end, please introduce them to me, because I don't know what I don't know. And which is why I'm having this question and answer right now. So you could tell me who I need to connect with, or maybe connect me with the people you know. Does anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
So when I was little, my mother used to say to me that I clearly couldn't be her child because I couldn't read for my dyslexia. And so growing up, I carried that, and then became a teacher because it was to make sure that no other kids ever felt that. So when I left teaching and went into therapy, it was the same drive. So it was interesting how that wound for such a young child, was
love that. I love that. And that just reminded me of a story. My mom, well, she is white haired now, I'm getting there, but she had really dark hair like her father. And my aunt had very blonde hair like my grandmother. Well, my grandfather worked 2 jobs and took a bus and a train to get there and home again. So he was never home. When my mom was young, my aunt had my mom convinced that she was adopted. So to this day, my mom is 80 years old, suffering dementia, and all she remembers is that she's ugly because she doesn't look like her mom and her sister. It sticks with us. I'm telling you, it sticks with us. So, anybody else have something? Yes.
It's probably hard to explain, and you may not be able to do it on a kid level, but what somebody else tells you is really what you're telling yourself. So when the kid hears from a parent, somebody else, that they're ugly, the kid is inside before that is told the kid feels that about himself, and it's just projected outward. That's what I believe, as in we only hear opinions we already hold about ourselves.
My mind is twirling right now, figuring out how to say that to the kid.
And you may not be able to.
Oh, I will.
You know,
I will.
there's always a level of comprehension. If you would have told me that 2 years ago, I would say, you know, you're nutty, goodbye. You know, as in, we all are on a journey. But other people only tell us what we already think about ourselves.
That's true, because remember Joanne said a little boy said that she was pretty and she couldn't believe it. Well, I was the same way, and I believe that even blocked me from getting dates when I was a kid because I didn't feel I was worthy. I was stood up for prom because I didn't feel like I was worthy. So you're right, it is absolutely true, and now I need to translate that to something kids could understand.
And it's the common thing, your thoughts create your reality, your beliefs create your reality. So even though other people are mean to you, in reality, you're mean to yourself.
That is so true. Thank you. Ooh, that almost brought a tear to me. Yes, ma'am.
What about children that have spiritual gifts or abilities that they are forced to hide because, I mean, children are cruel and sometimes even the parents. And
I have a friend, and we are going to do an episode about it. She and her child both have the gift, but she's doing a retreat next month, so I have to wait till after that.
I feel you.
Yes.
Nice.
Anything, anybody else think of anything? Yes, ma'am.
This may be silly, but from my childhood experience, I think it's important for children not to be afraid to have a voice. Because I went through several things as a child where I spoke out my feelings and they were totally ignored. But back then, you know, they didn't talk about certain things. And because my voice wasn't listened to, it caused a lot of problems as I grew up.
Let me
So,
ask you a question. Did that cause shyness?
I'm sorry?
Did that cause shyness?
No, I've never been shy.
You went the other way.
I quit talking about certain things, and what I had to say was important, and it was totally ignored, and there were consequences to my parents not listening to me.
That's a good episode for Parents Talk. Maybe we should get together. Yes, Charlie.
Well, my viewpoint is society has changed so much in relatively fast time. I mean, I grew up in the mountains, and nobody was picking on anybody and the kids. You know, the families would come together. Somebody needed something. The same with the kids. You know, if someone's having problems with some part of school, the other kids would help them out. And today, it seems like everything's so cruel and so nasty. And So, but they getting it from their parents, but they didn't get it from their parents necessarily. So there's something going on here that's really has changed dramatically in society. We see 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds beating and criticizing another 5 and 6-year-olds. We didn't have that back in certain areas, obviously, in the country. That just didn't exist. No one had to tell a 6-year-old that you were mean to an animal. You just, everybody was kind, and that was it. Something's really, really going in the wrong direction.
Does anybody have an idea how I could address this in either the Confidence Club or in Parents Talk?
I
Yes.
mean, I have 4 kids, so I would say like in my household we're very open with our kids. So like an example, I have a 13-year-old and she has friends where she's like, I can't talk to my mom about this. She doesn't listen. I'm like, well, this is an example, giving a space for those kids to be able to be open and talk, you're already in the right direction. Because like I tell her friends is, hey, if you're not open, you're always welcome in my home. You're always welcome. Here's my, you have my daughter's number. You can call her. You can talk to me. Whatever you need. So I think the big thing is just being transparent with kids. Is because a lot of people think, oh, they won't understand because they're young, but that's wrong. My 5-year-old and my 13-year-old both understand the same way. It's all about just talking to them in a way that they will understand. So, and another thing is the fighting thing. So me and my husband, when we argue, we don't like to do it in front of the kids. So teaching parents that it's okay to take a step out and separate for a moment before continuing the situation and making it worse. And then if you do end up arguing in front of your kids, it's about taking accountability, making sure you sit down with your kids and explain to them, hey, mommy was wrong when she did this, or daddy was wrong when they did this, and just explaining to them, this is not right. And explaining to them this is the correct way to approach it. Teaching them ways to deal with their emotions. That's what I would say.
Ways to deal with the emotions. Meditation. Yes, sir.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Very, very pretty children would have the same problem because they, jealousy and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I promote healthy eating, because I was always trying to lose weight. But then I had a friend who binged and purged. I had another friend who was anorexic. And we all really had the same issues. It was called disordered eating. Our problem wasn't being fat or skinny. Our problem was our relationship with food and what I call comfort habits. What we use to make ourselves more comfortable when life makes us feel like we're out of control. I would turn to food and booze, whereas my other friend would control what she ate to the point where she gets sick on a piece of lettuce because, oh my God, that's gonna make me fat. It was all about control, finding control when life is out of control. And I'm hoping that bringing the kids together in the supportive atmosphere will help them gain some of that control so they could find the healthy comfort habits like meditation, like cooking healthy recipes, like learning about science.
If I could add to that.
Yes.
Healthy eating, I think that has to go along, excuse me, with stuff like limiting screen time and blue light, which is very bad for kids especially, and it really screws with their attention span and their thought processes. And I realize it's kind of a catch-22 if you have an online presence.
Yes.
But there's ways to mitigate that with, blue light blockers or, special screens. And there's actually some new computers coming out that, especially I think the first thing is a tablet that mitigates that blue light. And it's a different type of display.
All phones have that now.
Yeah, you can change the lighting up. But a lot of parents just aren't aware of how that can affect and turn you off to your natural
And then, I don't go to restaurants often, but the last time I was at a restaurant, I saw a mother spool up YouTube, and the kid was sitting there watching YouTube
They use it
videos.
as a babysitter.
Exactly. Or even the cartoons. They do have positive messages, but it's not being reinforced. If they just watch a cartoon, no matter how positive the message is, if the parents aren't watching it with them and helping them understand it. I remember back in the day when I was watching cartoons, it meant a whole different thing to me then than it did now. Think of the Flintstones. Everyone seen the Flintstones? And it was just funny when you were a kid, right? Dino and Fred and Barney. But if you watch it today, it's a microcosm of society. And back in that day, the women stayed home and the men went to work and the men came home and the men were mad if their dinner wasn't ready. And that's what we were teaching our kids back then. So what, I ask parents, are your kids learning from these cartoons they are watching? The Mermaid with Not a Hair Out of Place, and Frozen, and I've never even seen most of these Disney movies because I just don't think that's the image that we should be giving young girls. I was an aircraft electrician in the military. That's what I want girls to emulate. That's why I want girls to learn science and math, because they all want to be princesses. Well, let them be Princess Francie and go on an aircraft carrier. Maybe I should make a cartoon about that. Yes, Joe.
I think you should show them how you got the planes off the aircraft carrier.
I did. I stood at the catapult. I did the walk around, make sure all the surfaces were good before, the pilot was strapped in properly. And then I stood there, when the engines run up on the aircraft before they get shot off the carrier, it does this to your cheeks. And then, boom, I was the last person the pilot saw. And the funny part, but I did it with student pilots. So I was there when they landed on the carrier for the first time. There were some, and then, never forget the pilot locked up one brake and started spinning. I had a duck and the wing went over my head, and just luckily never hit another plane, never knocked a person overboard. Everybody's spirit guides were protecting us that day. And when that pilot took his helmet off, he was sheet white. Does anybody else have? Yes.
I have one, another topic. Sibling rivalry.
Ooh.
That is like still going on, and we are very up there in age. It should not be.
That is one question I can't solve because I'm still going through it at 60 years old. Yeah, so if anybody has a cure for that, my mom would love my sister and me to talk again. Oops, I'm glad I'm not live on it right now. I could edit that out.
And my suggestion is just the nutrition. Out of all the nutrition, sugar is bad. But every holiday, Halloween, Christmas, I mean, I associate cookies with, holidays and going, it's amazing how sugar makes everything else out of whack. And it's not really just carbs, it's sugar, because it goes into your bloodstream so quick, so fast. I almost think, candy's unethical.
I agree.
Because, everything else you can argue about, but everybody agrees less sugar, because it helps your attention span, it helps your calmness. If you eat a bunch of sugar, you're not be able to meditate.
Did you know that your liver does not know how to process refined sugar? It looks at it like it's poison, literally. The only sugar I have is honey. And that's the only medicine I take too, is honey. Yes, ma'am.
Couple that with the sugar is the colorings.
Oh gosh, yes.
I have a granddaughter that's very sensitive to different things, and I'm sure that if you go into schools, you will see it with kids. You know, the red dyes, the blue dyes, everything that's now incorporated into foods. My daughter has to read every label now to make sure that that's not in there, because it affects her physically, and her attention as well, in school and other things. So
Yes.
that can be brought in with the sugars as well.
Absolutely. And when I learned that I'm allergic to zinc. Well, zinc's in everything. I eat nothing processed anymore. I can't even take supplements because I don't know how much zinc is in them, because that's not a listed ingredient. I only eat things with one ingredient in it. I eat carrots. I eat broccoli. And that's what I teach. And we were talking about this before everyone came today. I was a health coach originally, but nobody wants to do what's good for them. They want that quick fix. They want that magic pill. Well, the magic pill doesn't exist, and the quick fix will only make you sicker. Anybody
I've got
else?
one.
Yes.
Because you mentioned the Disney stuff, and what they did with the Disney stuff, which I think was partly just to make more money, was they take their bad characters and make them into good people. So they take their all the wicked stuff they did, and they make excuses for it, like, oh well, you know, they went through this, so that justifies their bad behavior. And I think that's really terrible, because bad things happen to lots of people, but it doesn't excuse turning you into an evil person who turns around and gives it back. And so maybe something along those lines could be coupled with the value of honesty and talking, you know, to people, and that usually if you're dishonest, it will come back and bite you in the butt later. And kids are afraid to tell their parents stuff. I mean, I think every kid can say, well, there was the time when whatever, and you don't tell somebody, but then you have to pay the price for that dishonesty at some point later in your life. So it's just...
And talk about Disney also. I like Disney. I've seen almost every Disney movie, but you don't have a father and mother and a kid.
Yeah, there's always
You
one spouse
kill off
missing.
like starting with Bambi, you kill off the mother. Usually it's the mother who's not there, but there's no Disney movie out of 20 has a father, a mother, and a child.
Well, part of that, I'll interject, part of that is because fairy tales were moral stories. And so morality plays, there's often something that needs to be overcome. And sometimes it's, you know, the loss of a
Yeah.
parent.
It's a
bad
story
situation.
element.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
story that you're meant to learn something. But if you take away the lesson and just present a story that doesn't really have any meaning, then it becomes dysfunctional.
And I may not be right here, but the way I feel is the kids only see the part of the story that's dysfunctional. I don't think they know that meaning. They don't get that meaning unless an adult helps them understand.
Exactly, and to piggyback off what she says, absolutely perfect, that when the brothers went through Europe collecting the stories, every single story was based on accountability. How do you navigate an uncertain environment? But the Disneyfication, what happened is when they took over the stories, they removed the accountability and entered the uncertainties in order to trigger this intrinsic fear in children. It's a dependence control mechanism, so she's exactly right.
And
That's why it's dysfunctional.
if you don't eat your vegetables, you won't grow up big and strong. Or I remember my family, you need to eat everything on your plate because there's starving kids in Europe. Well, send it to them. You're making me overeat. Okay? Just all these little isms that we get from our parents that are really destructive. time. I'd like to thank everybody. You've given me 3 books and 5 episodes of a podcast.